Welcome back to my YouTube channel where history and hidden treasures collide, and once again, we bring you a story that defies belief. Today's journey takes us deep into the mystery of a coin most would overlook, a 1997 5-cent piece, a nickel once jingling in pockets without fanfare, now whispered about in the corridors of billionaires and collectors. Its journey through time is no less than a modern-day odyssey filled with mystery, betrayal, international intrigue, and a staggering price tag that shocked even the most seasoned experts, $301 million. And trust us, the story of how it got there is far more valuable than the coin itself. It all began in the sleepy town of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Not the kind of place where legends are born. But for Curtis Harland, a maintenance worker with a quiet disposition and a love for metal detecting, it was the backdrop of what would become a life-altering discovery. Harland had been combing through the same community park since the 80s, pulling up old bottle caps, rusty nails, and on rare occasion, a wheat penny or two. That morning in late September 2022, something felt different. The ground was damp from rain the night before, the metal detector gave off a tone he'd never heard before, and his instincts screamed this was no ordinary find. About 4 inches beneath the surface, he unearthed a 1997 nickel. To the untrained eye, it looked like any other 5-cent coin. A bit tarnished, worn around the rim, and slightly discolored. But something was off. The weight was marginally heavier. It felt more solid. More deliberate. Harland pocketed it and continued his day, unaware that he had just touched a relic that would soon rock the numismatic world. Back home, Harland cleaned the coin with a soft cloth, careful not to damage its surface. He brought it to his magnifying lamp and noticed something strange. The coin didn't reflect light like other nickels. Under magnification, tiny etchings not visible to the naked eye began to show. The torch on the reverse side of the coin had minute script engraved along the flame's edge, script that read, Union Secured, MCMXCVRI, Sovereign Mark I. This wasn't a minting error. This was intentional. It was then that Harland realized he was in possession of something extraordinary. His first call was to a local coin shop, where the owner initially dismissed him. But after examining the coin under high-powered lighting and scanning it with a spectral analyzer, the color drained from his face. He offered Harland $10,000 on the spot, no questions asked. Harland declined. It was the smartest decision of his life. Word spread, as it tends to do in small towns, and soon experts from across the country were reaching out. But Harland decided to go public. He uploaded a short video of the coin and its strange markings. It went viral. Within days, the Smithsonian reached out. So did the British Museum, along with a few quiet phone calls from unnamed government agencies. That's when Harland began to realize this wasn't just a coin, it was a key. Archived documents, long buried in forgotten corners of the National Archives, began surfacing. One described a covert initiative launched by the U.S. Treasury Department in the mid-90s. Known as Project Sovereign, it was a classified endeavor to develop a series of coins embedded with micro-engraved codes and materials designed to prove authenticity and act as physical failsafes for economic collapse. The project was allegedly shut down in 1998 and all test coins were believed destroyed. But one had survived. The 1997 nickel in Harland's possession was one of only 4 ever created. And it wasn't made of the usual nickel-copper alloy. Tests revealed the coin's core contained a rare earth metal, rhodium, coated in a silver-nickel blend with trace amounts of carbon nanotubes. The design included a nanochip encoded with encryption from a pre-quantum age, and although decryption specialists attempted to crack it, the chip remained dormant until the coin was exposed to a magnetic field under a specific frequency. When this frequency was applied during a controlled test at MIT, the chip activated. A set of coordinates and a numerical sequence began to flash. These coordinates led to an abandoned military facility in Alaska, where a hidden vault was discovered containing thousands of historical artifacts, data storage units, and decommissioned surveillance equipment from the Cold War. The coin had been the key all along. What happened next would change the coin's valuation forever. The coin was no longer just a piece of currency or even a rare collectible. It was a historical artifact, a technological relic, and a piece of an intelligence puzzle spanning decades. Auction houses began preparing bids even before Haaland had agreed to sell. Bidding started at $50 million. Within days, it climbed. Private collectors, intelligence historians, and even tech moguls got involved. Elon Musk made an anonymous bid through a proxy at $210 million. An undisclosed sovereign fund from the Middle East upped the ante to $290 million. Finally, a joint bid from a European consortium of historians, backed by several monarchies and the Vatican, offered $301 million, citing the coin's cross-civilizational relevance and embedded theological implications. Haaland accepted the offer, but with conditions. The coin had to remain accessible to public scholars and preserved under international treaty protection. It now resides in an underground climate-controlled vault in Geneva, displayed just once a year for 1 week under tight security, but Haaland's story didn't end there. With his newfound wealth, he declined interviews, vanished from public life, and left behind a final message posted online, a cryptic series of numbers and letters that some believe may lead to another sovereign coin. Rumors of the other 3 coins have since surfaced. One possibly located in Argentina, another rumored to have been lost in a fire in New York, and the last allegedly spotted in Tokyo during the 2003 World Numismatic Convention. Each is believed to carry a unique code, potentially unlocking further parts of what is now known as the sovereign sequence, a rumored intelligence protocol created as a failsafe during the final days of the Cold War. Conspiracy forums erupted. Treasure hunters embarked on global expeditions. And the 1997 P nickel that once lay buried in a Pennsylvania park became the most talked about coin in the world. The tale doesn't stop with history or even with technology. Documents recovered alongside the artifact in Alaska hint at something even deeper: a contingency involving artificial intelligence, economic disruption, and a digital currency transformation predicated on the recovery of all 4 sovereign coins. While this sounds like fiction, key figures in the international banking world have reportedly taken these documents seriously, creating quiet task forces to track coin-related intelligence. Now, collectors examine every 1997 P nickel they come across, hoping lightning might strike again. Coin shops receive hundreds of inquiries weekly. But so far, no other sovereign mark has been found. Only whispers. Only theories. Some say the next coin will be found not in the earth, but already in circulation. Others believe it's in private hands, protected by descendants of those originally involved in Project Sovereign. The myth grows, twisting into legend. Meanwhile, Haaland, last spotted in Iceland, reportedly now works as a cryptography consultant for a Scandinavian tech firm under a different name. Some say he's still looking for the other coins. Others say he's already found one. The truth remains elusive, as it often does when money, history, and secrets collide, and so, the story of the 1997 P nickel lives on, not just as a tale of unimaginable worth, but as a symbol of the hidden threads running beneath our modern world. Threads we rarely see, stories we never hear, until one man with a metal detector stumbles upon the impossible. If you ever find a coin that feels just a little too heavy, with engravings you can barely see and weight that shifts depending on temperature, don't ignore it. You might be holding a piece of a forgotten legacy worth more than money, worth $301 million, and maybe, just maybe, the key to a story still unfolding. Stay curious. Stay searching. And we'll see you next time. Next 1992 D5 USA coin, where we dive deep into the forgotten treasures of the past, the legends buried beneath time, and the coins that shook the world with their unimaginable worth. You won't believe the story behind this one. What seemed like an ordinary 5-cent coin minted in 1992 at the Denver Mint, eventually turned into one of the most mystifying and lucrative discoveries in American numismatic history. Today, we unravel the wild tale of a single 1992 D5-cent piece that fetched a jaw-dropping $98 million at a secretive international auction, breaking every coin-related record known to collectors, historians, and economists alike. It all began in a quiet Colorado town, far from Wall Street and the bustling auctions of New York or Geneva. An aging coin collector named Julian Reed had spent most of his life sorting through rolls of coins, trading at flea markets, attending numismatic expos, and compiling an impressive yet largely unremarkable collection. He lived modestly, had no children, and his entire social circle consisted of fellow enthusiasts who knew him for his encyclopedic knowledge of die varieties and minting errors. No one, not even Julian, suspected that hidden in his massive archive of Jefferson nickels lay a singular coin, one that would rewrite history. It was in the spring of 2024 when Julian's health began to decline. His eyesight faltered, and the fine details of the coins he loved examining had begun to blur. On a quiet Thursday afternoon, while reminiscing through one last box of nickels before donating them to the local library, he came across a strange-looking 1992 D5-cent coin. At first glance, it seemed like any other from that year, Jefferson's profile clean and sharp, the familiar Monticello design on the reverse, and the worn copper-nickel blend that gave it the usual matte finish. But something about this coin felt different. Julian, ever the detective, took out his magnifying glass and noticed the mint mark D was slightly misaligned, almost like it had been hand-punched. The spacing between the letters in United States of America appeared to be too narrow. The edges, too, looked unusual, not the typical reeded pattern but something closer to an experimental finish. His heart skipped a beat. He hadn't seen a Jefferson nickel like this in any of his reference books. He quickly logged into an old coin database and searched for known varieties from that year, but nothing matched. He set the coin aside and contacted an old friend, Camila Torres, a former curator of the National Coin Museum. Camila had retired to Arizona, but her passion for rare coins was still strong, and her connections in the underground world of high-value collectors remained active. When Julian told her what he had found, she was skeptical, until he sent over a series of high-resolution photographs. Camila's experience kicked in instantly. She recognized something immediately, a feature that most would overlook. The fine ridges on the coin's outer ring, subtle and almost ghost-like, bore a striking resemblance to a rare French minting pattern used in the early 19th century. But this was an American coin, made in Denver in 1992. Why would it carry such a mark? Intrigued and somewhat unsettled, Camila traveled to Colorado. She examined the coin under her own equipment and called in a favor from a metallurgist in Chicago. The coin was sent in secret to a lab for a non-destructive scan. What they discovered was beyond explanation. The nickel was not made entirely of standard copper-nickel alloy. Beneath the outer layer, the core contained traces of rhodium, a rare, silvery white metal more valuable than gold, typically used in industrial applications and catalytic converters. Rhodium had never been reported in coin production, especially not by the US Mint. The presence of such a metal hinted at one of three possibilities: a minting experiment, an internal sabotage, or a cover-up. While Julian and Camila were stunned by the results, the story took an even darker turn when the lab's report was leaked to a private collector known only as the Count. He was a shadowy figure based in Monaco, infamous in numismatic circles for acquiring coins before they reached public auction, often through mysterious and expensive means. Within a week of the lab report's circulation, Julian received an unmarked package containing a blank check and a note with only 5 words: "Name your price." The Count. Julian, confused and cautious, refused the offer. He didn't trust the anonymous buyer and wanted the coin studded properly, maybe even exhibited publicly. But within days, strangers began appearing around his property. His mailbox was tampered with. At night, the sound of vehicles idling outside his quiet cul-de-sac became a regular occurrence. The local police could do little. There was no proof of foul play, just a mounting sense of unease. Camila advised Julian to move the coin to a secure location. She used her museum contacts to secretly transfer the nickel to a vault in Zurich, where a panel of international experts convened under confidentiality agreements. Their conclusions confirmed the anomaly. The coin bore features inconsistent with any known minting practices in the United States during the late 20th century. The rhodium core, the French patterned ridges, and the unique alignment of the mint mark all suggested the coin was produced by a rogue die that somehow bypassed all security protocols. Rumors began to swirl in numismatic circles that in 1992, a rogue engraver at the Denver Mint had conducted a secret experiment, perhaps to create the world's most durable coin, perhaps as part of an unauthorized test of exotic metals. Another theory pointed to a foreign operative who infiltrated the mint during the height of the post-Cold War era, leaving behind a few signatures in the form of ultra-rare coins. It sounded far-fetched, but the facts supported no logical alternative. With the coin's legitimacy confirmed and its origins still an enigma, Camilla quietly arranged for a private auction. The event took place in a fortified art gallery in Luxembourg, known for hosting exclusive transactions involving priceless artifacts. Attendees included billionaires from the tech world, sheikhs from the Middle East, royal numismatic historians, and even a mysterious envoy from the Vatican. Bidding started at $5 million. Within seconds, it had jumped to $25 million. A bidding war erupted between two buyers, one dialing in from Tokyo, the other present in the room, concealed behind a silk screen. The room was dead silent except for the voice of the auctioneer, steadily climbing with each bid. At $80 million, most participants had dropped out. At $93 million, the Tokyo line went dead. The buyer behind the screen placed the final bid, $98 million, and with the final gavel strike, the most expensive 5-cent coin in history had changed hands. Julian, though now in frail health, had watched the entire event unfold via secure livestream. He wept, not from joy, but from awe, knowing that his lifelong passion had uncovered something the world would talk about for generations. He used the proceeds to establish the Reed Foundation, funding historical preservation projects, scholarships for young numismatists, and a traveling exhibition titled The Coin That Shouldn't Exist. As for the buyer, their identity remains a mystery. The coin, insured for over $100 million, now resides in a specially designed vault in an undisclosed location. The only known photographs were released under strict copyright agreements, and the coin has not been seen in public since. The legend of the 1992 D5-cent piece continues to grow. New theories surface every year, some claiming it was a time traveler's token, others insisting it was forged using alien metal. But one thing remains undeniable: it defied the rules of minting, economics, and probability. A coin worth 5 cents by design became a symbol of mystery, danger, and unimaginable wealth, and it all began with a man, a magnifying glass, and a moment of curiosity.